I can also be this slag this shit. You look like rotten milk when you take off your shirt. You get sunburned in the fucking sun. You're not even meant to be in this sun. Blah 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 blah. And then they're like, oh shit. You know what? This guy's right. That's the fucking problem. That is the problem. That is the problem. It's not. Just understand. So even though a black person could say to a white person, "I'm racist," or some shit like that, or say, "Hey, he has no power. He has no influence. So that means he's not racist." This is why black people will say, we can't be racist. Only white people can be racist because I have nothing that can. Like I can't make you not be have friends. Huh? That's the difference. White people can say nigga. White people can say nigga, all that bullshit. That's not racism. Racism is when you fucking, I can't get a job because I'm black. Or I can't rent because I'm black. Or I'm not allowed to do something just because I'm black. It's a secret. It's like a secret. I don't want you to know about it. Anyway, let me see if I can make another cup. Cause this shit is so sick. Okay, I'm an artist. I want a thumbnail. So just. I bet she's like, fuck, how to answer this question. It's actually sick to give you AI. Damn, this taking a long time. He doesn't have an answer, that's all.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, that's sick. That's actually so sick. I love the colors. My digital art skills. That is so sick. Oh my god. Let me know. How do I put the echo on? How do I move this? I don't even know where to save it. Echo, I call it echo.
Feeling like a mysterious,
unreadable, nonchalant, super cool, awesome, tall, auriful person that doesn't care. When in my head, I think, damn, I really like you. I just didn't realize I had to say it out loud. And I know I'm not the only one. A lot of us think we're communicating clearly, while the other person is hearing something completely different and making up a whole different version of the story in their head. I've been using Feel, this dating app that allows you to communicate exactly what you're looking for.
That's the truth. I use my chin as well. I don't know why. I'm going back to it's bad.
Hey guys, we just got back from Michael, the biopic of this legendary artist. It's a long time in the making, this particular film. Underwent some reshoots here to do some legal compliances, and it released, and the critics hate it. It is 7%, slowly rising, 4%.
Yeah, I think I saw it.
All right, tomatoes, and it is being bombed. Now, many of you will know that I am I'm a big fan of Michael Jackson's music. I've done several reviews. I even did a Michael Jackson Connect review. And me and other Joe, we're just big fans. We've been to all the shows. Unfortunately, we weren't able to catch Michael Mann.
The joke's on you!
My biggest life regrets. But we, do the Circus Soleil, the one. I can't find my glove. I'm trying to show. I can't find my glove. So thank you, Jay, for filling in.
It's not how much time you
How
have.
that works.
It's how you use it.
Vacation
Are you
dog.
a Michael Jackson fan?
I am. I do love the early days.
Yes.
I do love the music. From the early days.
Okay. Excellent. I mean, the man has been a performer since, clearly you'll see it in the film, since his, youngest days. And his life is not quite the same as everybody else's. Now, this covers his, Jackson 5 years all the way up to the 1980s Bad Tour. So, I don't know. And I feel like the critics are really railing on this film for not including any of Michael's controversies and the court cases and allegations and things like that. But at least for this particular film, not only did they actually film stuff, they actually filmed some of it, and they had to legally remove it, which led to about $10 to $20 million in reshoots, because there's some flaws in some of the legal proceedings that the Jackson family can't profit off of depictions of the thing. So I don't know what they're going to do about the 1993 allegations and the 2005 allegations. We can get into that kind of stuff later, and my opinion on it, which, following all that stuff closely, I think it's all bullshit, and, well, I'll talk about it more later. But essentially, I think the critics are really railing on it. It's a cookie-cutter, sugar-coated version of Michael's life, and I'm not sure what people were expecting, right? Especially if the man's own nephew, I think it's Jafar Jackson, depicts him. First, I want to come out and say, first and foremost,
wow.
a legendary performance from Jafar Jackson, who I didn't realize, was an actor, had this kind of talent. He channels, Michael Jackson himself. in an amazing way. A 10 out of 10 performance. He carries the film, I think. And just, it's legendary. I've seen so many Michael Jackson impersonators, because I'm a fan. I'll go to Vegas and see these things. So, I mean, for that performance alone, I think it's worth seeing if you're a fan of Michael Jackson's music. But I will admit that, and me and Jay were talking about this as we were driving home.
Yeah.
We were like, we knew all that.
Yeah.
They're like,
new.
there's not a single new thing or explored thing in this. If you're just faintly familiar with Michael Jackson, there's nothing new here for you. And maybe that's what this is, okay? Because Michael Jackson, passed away a long time ago. It's been more than 20 years, and maybe the generations have moved on. This is for people who had no idea about Michael. And if that's who it's for, then sure, it's a condensed, really.
It's like they took all the headlines
all
of his life and they kind of put them in order.
MTV, Jackson 5, and they kind of mixed it in there. And if you love his music like I do, and you love the dancing and the performances and the talent, I think you'll come away satisfied, because I was like, what are they fucking talking about? I really enjoyed this. Of course, there's 13 songs in there. It is, basically a concert, and I was jamming the whole time. I wasn't expecting them to dive deep into the court cases and what materials did they find at his home when the FBI raided and all this stuff, which, by the way, was all bullshit and debunked by the defense. We'll talk about it later. And so I got what I wanted out of it, but you're going to be extremely disappointed if you wanted it to be more about his life and the controversies, because it's more a celebration of the talent of the man, the music of the man, and how essentially his life was much different than your average, person, or even sometimes musicians.
Yeah,
So,
a lot of it had to do with him and his relationship with his dad.
Yeah, his dad.
there you go.
And
This Joe Jackson character is the big bad of the film.
right, and we all knew that, going into it. So it's like they don't even. They kind of glance over everything in his life. It was a very dense, decision in life up until this point.
Right. Yeah. And, I don't think they were, purposefully staying away from the allegations, which, again, Michael Jackson was acquitted of all of the allegations, all 4 counts. But it does say the story will continue, or his story continues.
It's going to be weird.
It is going to be very weird.
And I think that's where
I don't think they're doing anything, are they? Because they legally can't.
Okay, I looked it up, and it said Lionsgate chairman said that they're not ready yet to confirm plans for a second film. But they filmed 3.5 hours. There's a 3.5-hour cut of this particular film that could be used for either a feature film, longer version on DVD, and they explore some of that. The 90s era, the 2000s era, the allegations. If they go into the 1993 allegations, or 2005, they could go into it and show that he was acquitted of all charges, all this. There's a court of public opinion, and yes, the man is that I, know. There's a list of 10 things that, I've seen that haven't been debunked. Why it's so weird. And I think it partly stems from his warped childhood and a lack of childhood, a lot of stuff. I expected a little bit more of that to be explored, and it really is.
They showed it a little bit. Yeah, they hinted at it.
I mean, you mentioned like this. It's kind of like this movie is a romantic from 1988. Because we never know anything. Then they had as far as the story, not great. As far as a biography, if you're leaving out some of the most tumultuous parts, it's not much of a biography, and it's more like someone. I love Michael Jackson. Really, really great stuff. Sometimes they do as good of a job as I was expecting. We saw that Michael Jackson every second of that, I'm like, this is fucking good. This is nowhere near as good as that. And like that's just focusing on the music. So this is the one. Like, and I've seen all of them. This is the one. Out of all of them, Rock Island, Elvis, and all these other ones, this one has more music and than any other one. There's no little story to get. This is it. Yeah. They didn't really scratch the surface very much on the father thing. Lomingo, I can't go too far. I think Lomingo for me.
On
good.
Joe Jackson?
He's so good.
Oh, that guy's Joe Jackson.
Yeah, and so I remember watching the court thing, and you see like this husk of a human being, Joe Jackson, get out of it, and it's just like that man looks.
Joe Jackson.
That guy looks evil, and like you're watching this, and you're like, I get the exact same vibe. So like,
There's this real creepy scene with Joe Jackson and Don King. It was almost like super villains.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was over the top.
Planning to take over the universe or something like that. I was like, oh my god, man.
But no, I can't. We can't. That's one thing I want to elevate and say before Jackson. My God, reincarnated here. It's filled with heart and soul, and you can tell he studied. This man worked hard, and he really embodied it. And I think it hit all the right notes. The music, so I'm in disagreement with a lot of critics. I think that if you are a fan of Michael Jackson in this movie and you're expecting some celebration of that, then you really have it. If you're going and expecting a biopic that gets down and dirty and gets into some of the the controversies and stuff, you're going to be sorely disappointed if that's what you want. Now, see, I don't watch these. Okay, I didn't see Bohemian Rhapsody. I didn't see Rocket Man. I didn't see.
Oh, I didn't see
the Turner one. What? And then there was Beatles. There's just so many recently. So you guys might have, you out there in the audience might have a better idea of where this would rank amongst other biopics. How they've done a good job. The life behind the cameras and behind the performances versus this. So this one, I without all that context, I can tell that I kind of skip over, a lot of stuff. And it is short, forever. That's where that Wikipedia feeling comes from. And because I'm not sure I was expecting a lot of that, it feels like it would have done more of a service to cover some of that if you have the far Jackson is so far, in my opinion, the best depiction or portrayal of Michael Jackson as a performer and singer, and that and because I do think that he does great in it. And that actor was fucking great.
It's all just very plain and
stuff we knew. What? By the actor. It's almost like they did
right.
Story.
And what's crazy is, I love the music. You're listening to some of the hits. There are some times where it's like, wow, this sound is so good. Yeah. And there are other times where like this scene doesn't match up. Like this scene doesn't live up to how epic this music is. And some of these musical scenes do a huge disservice to some of these other things.
Aren't going to improve themselves.
Just like when they were the whole documentary. Him sitting in the chair.
A bunch of money on the album and didn't take it. There's so many cool Michael stories that just the crazy that none of them were thrown. He wanted to go to Brazil. Video in Brazil, and the Brazilian government didn't want to do it, and they were worried he's gonna get kidnapped and murdered. But the mafia leader in this country loved him so much. No, I'm gonna guarantee his protection. And then they filmed it with no problems.
Right.
There's so many cool Michael stories, and we told none of them.
Yeah, no, we told some of them. We told some of them. There was the Beat It. There was the Beat It one with the Bloods and the Crips, and he was bringing them together.
But that one's very well known.
I honestly, I knew that, but I didn't know it was like that. Where you brought both sides, they were fighting each other, they both much as how Michael, you know, at his highest popularity, this is a multi-billion-dollar artist that dominated for decades. And you tell everything in a 2.5-hour story. There's some really interesting. You should watch some of those behind-the-scenes stuff on Thriller. In this, he basically complains, "Hey, we need my feet in this more." And he's talking to Landis. He's like, "Hey, can you know, or we get some of the fucking." The album song, essentially, going between Human Nature and some of these other ones, eventually landing on Thriller. But I wish there was more behind the scenes. So I wanted more, and that's a good thing because there's a 3.5 hour film. Whether this film bombs at the box office because nobody cares about Michael Jackson anymore, or makes $1 billion, as some people were predicting, because Michael Jackson is the king of pop and this legendary figure, we're gonna have to see. And then, if it does succeed, you're gonna have a weird problem on your hands, because then the story continues. Well, you gotta include 1993, you gotta include 2005, and then you know, some of his later work and stuff, and how's that going to work, especially you know, if this film was forced to reshoot due to I don't know, what do you think? Yeah, I think it's time to go into. Okay, hold on. Before we do that, there are several good stories. So I don't want to say that that's not a thing. The MTV. Okay, at one point it's depicted that MTV doesn't want to put Michael Jackson on their show. This sort of power play. He brings his manager in there, and they talk to CBS Records president Walter to get MTV to play his music videos, and it's a great fucking. Now I didn't know. And then they talk a little bit more about it. He got the guy to walk into a trap, and he basically says, yeah, but you know, in the Midwest, that might scare them and stuff. So they were, you know, making sure that some of this stuff wasn't there. Now, they use the excuse that it is a rock and roll only, which I can immediately tell was bullshit, because they were already playing other songs, and they had some other performances over there. But ultimately, Walter was like, look, if you don't put me down, I'm going to pull every single one of my artists from the channel. People like Bob Dylan, just big honchos, and then he's like, all right, you don't play within 10 minutes. I thought it was a great scene. Michael, like that's good. That actually did. I thought it was
An enemy has been slain.
yeah, and then we had. Maybe that's why the budget of this film was so unnecessarily high. So this film was already $170 million, and then they had to do $20 million in reshoots, so, and then probably marketing. So you're up to about $250 million. This equates into that. That's crazy. But some of the budget must have been the CGI budget. They got bubbles in here. Because a real monkey tear your face off. Yeah, well, it's kind of a monkey. Just some guy drops him off, and it's implied that he's met the monkey before. Yeah. But then when they do the scene of them first meeting, it's supposed to be like, Michael has a connection with all animals. The first time they're meeting, but it's not. So it's all confusing, it's weird, and they use CGI to you know, dumb things, but I don't know, it's just weird. It would have been some of that weirdness addressed, and they just kind of come over.
Yeah, I wanted to dive into anything. So it's like we got that really short, cool scene about what you mentioned with CBS, but it was short and kind of shallow. The bubble thing was kind of shallow. The only thing that we touched on a few times was the conflict between him and his father, which I think was really interesting.
Was the interesting.
But we didn't, you know, I think that we could have had an entire movie focusing on that. And, like, really.
Yeah. And then finally, they kind of use, it's like, how do you do this if you're, it's like the movie is funny. And it's like, okay, how do you have a satisfying movie? What's the conflict? What's the climax? The Pepsi thing. So Michael Jackson got a Pepsi sponsorship deal. They got a director, and the set crew wasn't, you know, that careful, and they had Michael way too close to one of the pyrotechnics. And this is well known. Everybody knows about this. But a lot of people don't know that it really did fucking burn him all the way. Scouring, problem, and that is essentially what got him addicted to medication. Could have put death in the future. Very bad. Died and dead, and Jackson immediately is winking. Yeah, that's all he ever sing again. Like he ever say, I was like, okay, that's the thing. Man, he's gonna sing, right? He needs to get back on the street. But it's just the childishness of the father. That's what he's worried about instead of something else. So
that was super villain.
The super villain type stuff. And Joe, I guess, I mean, you'd have to hear Joe defend himself, but that's kind of what reportedly what he's really like. He's a hard driver of his children, while probably didn't do things the right way. You know, he is a factor in their success, and that's why it's a complex and interesting story to mine. It's just that I don't know if they're supposed to try to be respectful of his family or whatever, but no, they show Joe's a piece of shit, and they're like, no, Joe's a piece of shit.
Like if you're trying to, like, if you want to tell the story, you need to tell the story. And so, like, you know, if they're afraid of those things, and then why make it? And I guess they didn't know that they couldn't show any of the stuff later on. They found out after.
Your team has destroyed a
Like,
turret.
they don't have access to the whole thing. And ultimately felt like we didn't dive into anything.
I think you're gonna have now, you know, and you have to set your expectations. So I think it's entertaining and it's worth seeing, and it was worth my money. It is a condensed version of it. The film does feel like somebody who has never seen all of this. So for me, it's like there's not a single thing in here that I didn't know, you know, except for the depth of the let's go to the final verdict.
I think it's a average film, especially with the genre. I think there's some interesting stuff that we talked about with the movie that we didn't, and then we did, briefly mentioned, or like reading headlines and highlights in such a short period of time. A lot of the movie is the musical performances, which I really do enjoy, but you know, sometimes it was just shortened versions of them.
An enemy has been slain.
I absolutely should, especially. Music was given scenes that lived up to how legendary the music was. So we'd have, you know, Coleman Domingo at the top of the game. Connor, that's your task, right? That's literally your task. When you make it,
cannot be done. As far as Christmas, Michael.
I don't think that, you know, the guy who did, I don't remember his name, in Rocket Man, doesn't have the same voice as Elton John. But man, that story is good, and the music is good, and it's a story that has like a beginning, middle, and end, and it feels like a journey the entire way, and you're just like, wow, I learned stuff. This is great. And this is just like, it literally does feel like if Jay had read me the BBC article, the best thing in Michael's life from 68 to 88, it's like, yes, okay, and then it's like, well, were you doing anything else other than that?
So the performance is
but like I said, I've seen
Sure.
all of his show, like recordings of his shows and his other live stuff. It's like that stuff did it better. So I don't like it very much. And I think it's
4 out of 10. Ooh, and you just remind me, Alex. You know who was absent from the film that I just remembered? Who the fuck was Janet Jackson?
Oh,
That's so weird.
I was gonna bring
She's
that up.
not in
Yeah.
there.
I
Oh,
was
you
gonna
were?
bring that up.
Well,
Gonna bring that up.
Latoya's out.
Latoya's in there.
Yeah, but then
But there's no Janet.
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
mean-
thinking, wait a minute, was she born after? There's like, no,
No,
she's
she's younger,
she's
right? By 2
removed.
years.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
But you can't say
not
yeah.
to do that. That's
yeah.
they. There are other
crazy.
things they did in the film that I'm sure that they would have told them not to do, but
Yeah, because
That's just
Janet had
weird.
her own little career. You know, she had the TV, all the
I
TV
don't
shows
know
and-
why.
This is crazy.
we have to watch the sequel.
Yeah, we gotta see the sequel for that. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
The joke's on you!
should have been covered. Like, they didn't even explore when Jermaine went to Motown.
Yeah, they mentioned
They mentioned it in one sentence, and that was it. And then guess what? He's back at Victory, and everything's happy, and you know, welcome back, you know, type thing. It's like, well, okay, what happened there? You know, stuff like that. You know, that we really don't know about. We heard about, but we didn't. They glossed over it, which really kind of, you know, again, this movie was just the highlights of his life, like you said, 68 to 88, and so much stuff in there that can be explored, regardless of all the controversial stuff. A lot of that stuff happened after that, too. So, but there's stuff in that time where we could have looked at. Again, this movie was.
It's not how much time you have. It's how you use it.
Yeah, I love it. So it's like, he did such a good job, but it seemed like the writing and the directing kind of pushed him to make some of the scenes over. Like you said, when he was, you know, it's late, or he didn't want to practice, and
Yeah.
he beat his ass.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Everything was
everybody
bigger
was
than
watching
life.
him. Hey, we're just watching him beat his ass, like brutally beat his ass.
Yeah, and I
I'm
just
like, come on,
I just
really?
found that it was because Janet Jackson was trying to be part of the film. She read her script. She was unhappy with the way her portrayal was, and it didn't accurately represent her life, and so they respected her wishes to not
Erase her.
So they just
Erase
erased
her.
her from the room.
Yeah.
So she probably wanted. Yeah, it was either she wanted more in the film, or says like that's not what this is about, or as she also believed that it was dishonest in some of the portrayals and not addressed to her
Well, see-
satisfaction, so she chose to step back.
His daughter said the same thing.
Yeah.
Too, but I mean, she wasn't there. So.
Yeah, and then the hospital scene too. That was like, oh, when is he gonna be back on stage? That's a little bit over the top. The performance or the lines in that whole scene.
Yeah,
were just
because
kinda-
everything's condensed.
Yeah.
You're like, did he really say it
Yeah.
in that particular moment?
Yeah.
Did he really whoop his ass at the second they came home celebrating of their first gig was
Yeah.
successful? Probably not, you
Yeah.
know? And that's what probably pisses off some of the Jacksons, because it's like, that's not how it happened. Now, granted, his father did kick his ass
Yeah,
one time
yeah.
when, like, he didn't want to practice 17 sessions from then, sure.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's what the movie does, is
Yeah.
it condenses stuff and it over-exaggerates
Right.
stuff.
And so, in all, I'm right there too at the 4.
Oh,
Four out of
okay,
it, yeah.
below average. Well, okay. I wish other
Well,
Joe was...
and I did have
Yeah.
that one CGI moment that I don't know if you.
Oh,
noticed it.
yeah, the bad CGI.
The bad CGI at
What
the
did I
end
get?
when he's in London. The cameras coming in to the stage, and all the heads look like little
The
dots.
crowd was a
Yeah.
little
They
fake.
all, and then
It's
then-
crazy.
They had to reshoot all this stuff.
It's crazy how many people he could pack into a stadium.
Yeah.
That these days
I
it's
thought
hard
it
to
was
simulate
looking like we can-
getting all those people
Right.
together, so they had to use some bad CGI for it.
But then
the
this-
crowd individual shots.
After that, that you could tell it was CGI, but they were so much better.
Yeah, so
I
much
was like,
better.
why do you have this one crappy scene? Just cut it out.
Well, it's because they had to make a cohesive
Yeah,
movie
it's
because they
like
had to cut the
16
last
is-
part of the
I
movie
was
out.
like, ugh.
So it's
Yeah.
like anytime you do reshoots like that and you're like, hey, you have to change the ending of this, they're gonna have to rush. through
Yeah,
and
but
put
I have to
something.
put this crappy CGI in there, like with
They-
all the good
They
CGI.
rushed it in order to try to show the scale of
Yeah.
Michael's shows because they
Yeah.
were huge. But that particular CGI shot wasn't that great. But all of the fans they depicted really, really
Yeah,
well
yeah,
and
yeah.
how they would freak out over
Okay.
Michael and everything. Faint stuff. That shit was real. And yeah, so I'm wondering. I mean, I wish you know my mega fan other Joe was here to tell us what he thought. But I feel like he might have something that you said here that it's like wow.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
We'll ask him when he gets back. But for me, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than boys. Of course, my expectations were completely different.
Minions have spawned.
You know, and I don't really watch a lot of these biopics, so I don't have a good story. And I think my suspicion is that Alex is a little more correct, and it's like we can have a celebration of the artist and his music and
Progress
stuff,
doesn't belong
but
to
then
one
also a compelling story that works without all of the music as well. And if that's what you're looking for, that's not what you're going to get here. You're going to get a main concept. And the man is in perfect performance, his body, his uncle, that's what I was hoping for. That's exactly what I got. But I can't acknowledge all the weaknesses. I'm 7 and 8. Probably does feel cut off there towards the from a big fan of Michael, so I am curious how they will continue, and put out there a lot more of how that works out. That's our opinion. I'm stalling because I'm looking. There it is. So it's trying to earn at least 65 to 70 million domestically, which would make it the biggest ever music biopic. This is ahead of current record holder, straight out of Compton, and Fox's Freddie Mercury biopic for him to tracking well. We'll see how well it does. Sees, my guess is it's better we'll have to see. We could do a little bit of talking behind the scenes, maybe get into some
I finished what I started.
people are upset at the film because they didn't include this or that in the spoilers discussion. Otherwise, there's not much to spoil because most people know his story already. So that's it from us. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know. Have you seen the film? What do you think of the film?
I do my own
Good Joe Show. Bye, guys. Hey guys, welcome to the spoiler section. So, yeah,
You know everything.
You know everything. We got the Pepsi in there. We got his tyrant father, Joe Jackson, just whooping his. And like, we touched on this a little bit, Jay. It's like, did he really get his ass beat with the belt? Why didn't he celebrate? Like, I don't know. You'd have to talk with one of the Jackson brothers.
Yeah, it seems like they, like you said,
They would know.
They condensed all the beatings into one.
And I'm sure there's interviews out there.
One super beating, and then, okay.
Oh, he got beat multiple times.
Yeah.
You see the door closing. And you know how his mother never really fought back until she told him, "Hey, you can't beat the boys no more." And he's gonna do what he's gonna do. And then it's like, did Jackson really get bullied into the victory tour? Did he really get bullied into the tour?
Let's make the news.
I'm sure Jackson said, no, I want to do it. You know, it's moved in ways to make it more dramatic. And I think that would be the defense because a lot of these biopics do play with these series of events.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a movie. So the point is documentary with many compelling.
I think that if you don't know the story of Joe Jackson, it is compelling enough. I think that's why I gave it a better version, because I mean, I know the story of Joe Jackson. It's fascinating. Like, you are growing up fucking 8 years old. I mean, I don't know when you started, younger than that. And that's your whole fucking life. And then to have this conflict with your father, and the way the movie depicts it, I want to be creative on my own. I want to write my own things. I want to get my own voice. Got to get into that. How they do that?
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, he had a completely different shape.
Yeah, no,
I
mean,
3 or 4 different movies. Yeah, first one was prosthetic, and then he started acting.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. I was like, okay, because I was like, damn, that's some good CGI in there the whole time. Big nose,
a lot of things can drive you crazy. It is what you do once those things drive you. Don't touch it constantly.
That would be the big
Ally has been
shared
slain.
dangling babies and shit from
As a parent.
attacks on the media, who, to be fair, were fucked up people,
Yeah.
and coming after him, and you know, just they would make
No
so
one-
much money. It wasn't so much money in it. I don't believe a lot of stories of weather. You can watch the Devil documentary. Go watch then we watch it forward, and there's still weird stuff. I don't know how they would do a sequel. I think they should probably stay away from the sequel.
Stop it there.
Let's
We're
stop
good.
it here, but we'll see, you know, if they have, because
There are
then
limits.
you're asking
Not
Lamar
yet.
Jackson to be part of it.
And only Ernest and then go in and
Like if you have kids, they would get a bite-sized tiny version of it.
Yeah.
And it's whitewashed or clean washed, whatever you want to call it. But it's an inspiring story, and it is a good story, and a lot of it is real, and a lot of it happened. That's why it's like, you know, you want to read of it.
Yeah, it feels like 42 hours.
2 hours.
So, probably an hour.
20 seconds.
I think the majority of this movie is him at concerts and him singing.
An
and very
enemy has
little
been
story, and it's
slain.
like, I wanted more.
And then the story that we did get are these soft moments where he's, you know, home alone, either you know, going and buying toys and signing autographs. And like, that is the least stuff you could
Puff
do.
piece. It's kind of a.
It was going to
Every other
another scene, and it may, I don't know why it makes it feel like it's propaganda, but it's mild to a fucking terminal
Yeah.
who are about
about to die or had cancer and stuff, and they just needed to put a scene in there where it's like, Michael, we got to pack you, got to do all this other stuff, and you know, I heard that you wanted to go visit a home. I go, don't you want to see that? But that's not in there. And so when they depicted it, he's like, you know, signing all the contracts and all the music industry stuff, and all of a sudden he's in the hospital. I wish there was more in there. Where like, no, this is what I'm doing. I don't care if I lose money.
Yeah, it was all in a montage. It was kind of jumbled together with the signing of the contracts, I'm in the hospital with kids, and then
Like music video, 30 seconds of fluff, music video, 5 seconds of fluff, Joe Jackson in mom. Yeah. Music video. Yeah. And at the end, concert, and we do get, I mean, the whole climax of the movie is Michael declaring himself publicly free from his father. So that's the whole
at Dodger Stadium.
At Dodger Stadium. So it's like, he tells the entire world on stage, this is my final victory tour, not doing anything with my brother anymore.
And he looks over.
He's looking at his dad. And so it's like, there is that kind of whole through line, but it's like, that is such an epic moment if we had built up this relationship between the two of them.
Not quit until it's right.
I want to cover this because I think it's important, and you know, I'm a fan of Michael Jackson, and it's important to give context. So some of these allegations, there was mountains and mountains of evidence that the defense tried to present, and 2-5 not guilty on count 6, 7-10 not guilty. Some people like to bring up the fact that they found porn or something next to his bed and stuff. It's like, okay, well, type that I'm not going to say here on YouTube, which was debunked because there were thousands and thousands of books across multiple properties. They found best-selling books that were confiscated. And, you know, if there was something, you know, actual, see it in there, that would have immediately been acted on. All of the jurors would have acted on it as well. But what they found, after all these mounds of evidence, is an acquittal. So that's important. And essentially, the defense tries to put a pattern together. Can't find anything actionable. So that's what's going on the legal side of things, and the very serious allegations that they stayed away from, that they're going to have to cover in an eventual sequel if they do.
Progress doesn't belong to you.
How much money it's making? You would think that they would.
What, to get some of their money back from the first one? Or
do you think that if this movie is #1 Bible book internationally, that they will go into all of these weird
I don't think so, because then you're still profiting on all of the allegations, even if you change.
Tomorrow's the
the estate is not allowed to
way off the allegations.
That is correct.
The second half of his life, post 88, is way outside of the allegations. This was the opportunity to do the really cool thing and make a banger-ass fucking movie. In my opinion, you did. So the less interesting cut side was not a courtroom
I finished what I started.
Oh, she was on Jackson crossover?
Yeah. But she doesn't exist. She doesn't have a sister Janet.
I know. Well, maybe
she was on set. She was on Good Time.
Maybe
someone will return in the next thing. No, he won't.
They should have wrote like his music will live on, because that's absolutely true. Like,
yeah. I don't even think they've done it. Yeah. It's just a nice little thing.
oh, here comes. Don't worry. It's almost like telling the audience, you know that we pulled out a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we're gonna give it to you later. We wanted to focus on this stuff.
Why do you have to say
Why would you? That's what I'm saying.
does it
No, it's actually worse for me. Story continues. Okay, well, I think we've pretty much covered everything, even the uncomfortable stuff. You know, I just wanted to be thorough, but we'll see. More. Got bad word of mouth. Right now, the 39% critics, 94% this is 500 plus verified ratings, and as they add more ratings, they probably go up and down. So the audiences have spoken. This is what they wanted to see. They wanted to talk. Hey, this is great fucking job. Oh, Captain Elo or something like that.
Yeah, whatever. I saw it when I was a little kid.
The big skip over the good catch.
No. They didn't do a lot of shit.
Oh, I think maybe they're saving after the sequel. All right. Well, that's about it, guys. Tell us, you know, what you thought. That's what I thought would happen. That the audiences would be, no, this was fucking amazing. The energy, and it does have the talent. Allegations. Oh, well, so that's one part of it. The allegations that they're not coming over the board. They're not coming over the board. That would have made for a better engaging. And it's there. It's just not focused. I think it would have had more.
Every second matters.
This Assassin's Creed.
An ally has been
Gotta
slain.
go down. Calling the whole H&M with me. Zara. Shop
Behold.
rid of this fine item. What the hell even is this? Oh, it's a sleeping cat. Oh. Get up. What? Can't exit from here? Maybe not. Okay. Yep. Good one. And I don't know if it's still Oh, there's a troll again. Ah, maybe it means a mountain troll. Let's do this. Bonk. Oh, I destroyed his little fireplace. Come on, buddy. Nice. Very nice. Oh, so seriously. Come on, buddy. This is Flipper. How do I flip his... How do I flip his blood? Well, it didn't work. And bogeys. So there's a chesticle I didn't take. Lots of the captain. Look at it. It's prefab. Use it to the shadow of the relic. Learn this. What is he talking about? Commands. Let's see if it works. That's crazy. Left.
Make them know.
Let's see what this is going to be.
Sebastian has gone too far. Stay here. Wait, Anne, please.
Got both lost.
Glad you're here.
What the heck? That's not
Frankly, I'm surprised you weren't here.
I actually didn't.
Yet here we are. You won't listen to reason. I should have stopped him before. Sebastian's in real trouble now. I'm going back into the capital to find him. And right, he and the entire handle are in danger. The place is crawling with fear.
So,
What are you talking about?
I can kill them easy.
See, we need to hurry.
I just came back from
He won't be in his right mind.
fighting it. I just came back from fighting a troll. I was supposed to be scared of the fury. I mean, please. Oh, I forgot. Sorry, I forgot to turn on the light. Also let me get rid of some. Yeah, as always, running out of plans for. Wait, frankly, I can't be bothered. There we go. That's fantastic.
Shut down.
If there are limits, I haven't found them yet.
Okay, I have some space. Okay. We're ready to go.
Rebellion.
Secrets.
This was crawling with surprises. We're about to face worse.
Does he think I've never... What does he think I've been doing this time? I truly don't play this in fully. Nice. Smush him with this. Ah! Seriously, nothing? Oh, I've been here already. Clearly.
Where was Sebastian when you and Anne found him? Just in the great room.
Hello, guys. Interrupt.
Bombarda. Potato. Stupefy.
Overhead slam. Ah. Check it. That doesn't count. come on. Oh, he exploded. Poor spider. Spiky mushrooms. Ooh, what's in there? Lined cup.
Not quitting till it's right.
There weren't this many in theory before. And there's no sign of Sebastian.
Yeah, let's go.
Expelliarmus.
Bonk. What? Oh, hello, Lucky. Hello. Why is he? Bonk. Yeah, I'm just... Don't worry. I'm using the higher ground that I have. I don't stand a chance, to be honest.
Rebellion. Hold on a moment. I was so worried about Sebastian, I didn't even realize. Anne's gone to get Solomon.
Oh shit.
She thought Sebastian was being attacked. But then he showed her the relic and said he'd learned how to use it.
Oh.
Carvings on the relic were in theory, and Sebastian learned how to create them. Not exactly. He's controlling them. This is powerful dark magic. Creating is incredibly difficult. Controlling them, as Anne and I frantically barricaded the inferior to escape, Sebastian kept mumbling about healing Anne. When Anne said she couldn't stay here, I didn't realize what she meant. Solomon threatened to twist the story that make him think it's a family fight. I'll be back as soon as I can. See if you can talk some sense to Sebastian.
Right.
Be careful.
I'll learn how to make him fail. We'll be safe. Yes. That's crazy. Let's desecrate more graves.
Rebellion.
Legendary.
Star Quasars always do.
Has destroyed an inhibitor.
I think I've been there.
Sean is the future.
That works. Oh, it's just bullshit. It's all empty, what the heck? Not enough for me. Bonk. Oh, I forgot to. And nothing on me, bro. Smushed on the ground. Bonk. Let's collect their skulls because whatever.
Revelio.
Spiders.
Confringo.
Oh. Why even? The wrong one. Oh, I can open something else. Nope. It's already opened. It's kinda messing with me because been here already, I stole everything, but
These inferi seem far from control.
yeah, I would say so. Problem is I have to send them in fire before I can do it. Hey Darko, yes. I'm still playing it. This is my first play. I haven't played it before. And it's getting me no viewers. I'm when it comes to streaming, I'm doing myself a disservice. I'm just playing it for myself. Frankly, I'm happy I'm playing it because the game is epic. There. Another inferi. Oh, just stay dead. Wait, what? Ah. I've been here, I stole everything I could. Why am I even bothering? Yeah, I've opened this as well. Yeah. There's nothing to steal anymore. I think I've... this way? Seems like the way to go. Oh yeah, there he is. Just collect some bones.
I need to find a way up that ledge.
I can just... come on. Seriously. Where does it go? Does it go in front? I forgot. Yeah, goes in front.
There's Sebastian.
Hey, Sebastian.
Isn't this incredible?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Sebastian, I told you, the relic is the answer. I've been trying to reverse the dark magic that injured Anne, but this will allow me to control it. Just as I control the Inferi. Control? I had to fight the Inferi all the way.
to have the two of you.
Oh crap.
Accio relic.
No, give back the relic.
Solomon, don't. The relic.
No.